With March Madness right around the corner, the Boston Celtics and Brad Stevens are going to have to do their due diligence to figure out who's going to be those next picks to really come in for this Boston Celtics team. So Patrick and I are going to dive in and look at three potential prospects, similar to guys like Baylor Scheinman, Jordan Walsh, etc., that could fit into Joe Mazzulla's team, like Brad Stevens has done these last two seasons. We're going to give you guys a little bit of sneak peek tidbit to kind of watch some of these guys as we get into these games going into this afternoon. Welcome back to Celtics Digest. I'm Bruce Velez with my co-host Patrick. And Patrick, I think this is going to be a fantastic video, and I think the fans are really going to enjoy the players that we kind of picked out today.
I'm pumped up. I love talking about the draft and I love college basketball. So it's literally some of my two favorite things being put together and talking about who's going to be drafted by my team. This is perfect.
Exactly. It gives you those little predictions, kind of gives you that little inkling to kind of pay attention to some guys, and also lets you find out who are those Brad Stevens types of players that are those gems. And we're going to be getting into all of that and more on this episode, like we mentioned. Let's get into it, Patrick. Without further ado, make sure to grab that stack, ladies and gentlemen. And these are some interesting picks that we're going to be diving in and looking at here for the Celtics. Like I mentioned, we got three guys that we kind of looked at, and these three players are all, kind of predicted to be around where the Celtics would pick initially. Now, obviously, these players can move up, they can move down, as we know with the March Madness tournament, with the draft getting closer and closer. But at this moment, these players are around this, picking area for the Celtics and also share similar qualities to some players that the Celtics would target in the past. And Patrick, the first player we're going to be diving in and looking at is the one that you kind of want to talk about and dive
Yeah.
into. So let's get into it. It's Bennett Sturts from Drake. So let the fans know what you know about Bennett.
Yeah, so this is one of the first players that I really thought about that could really fit with the Celtics. I mean, you look at his averages: 19 points, 4.5 what is that, rebounds, and then we got 5.5, 5.7 assists. He's an absolute monster. He plays for Drake, of course, and he came from a Division II school as well. And he came with his coach, brought over a bunch of his guys, and he's just been an absolute stud. I believe he was also an honorable mention for an All American team this year. So they play today as of Thursday, and you're going to get the opportunity to watch him play. I do when I watch his film. He seems a little bit of like a taller Peyton Pritchard. He is a junior, so he could go back to school, but he is getting a lot of draft looks. But if you look at all of his awards here, he won the Player of the Year, Newcomer of the Year, First Team, All Team Newcomer, and just a ton of awards. And he's a great shooter as well, and a very good playmaker. And there you see that he was an All American, honorable mention. Bruce, when you were able to watch his film, did you see some of that Peyton Pritchard type of play? He's a little bit bigger, but you could see how smart he is on the pick and rolls and when it comes to his shot. And what do you think about all that?
Yeah, I would agree. I think you kind of see those Peyton Pritchard qualities, and you kind of see that shot creation that we've kind of seen with Bennett here and that. And I'm excited to see what he can bring for this Drake team in this tournament. Like you mentioned, went to a DT2 school, something that's similar for the Celtics to kind of look at. We saw them do something similar with, a player, Derrick White, someone that they've targeted and going after. He obviously went to a D school, worked himself up to a bigger school in Colorado. So something similar in quality like that. And I think Sturts kind of presents himself as one of those under the radar players. You kind of mentioned, he's from the D2 school, has all of these awards, kind of had to work his way up, fight through the grind. And those are the players that kind of Celtics look at. And for a junior kind of coming into the draft, he's obviously not a rookie or a freshman or a sophomore. So he's not going to, be those top tier talent picks. He's going to be someone that the Celtics have to kind of invest in and work with. And I think he can kind of bring that quality to the Celtics, similar like a guy like Peyton Pritchard with that hard work, similar like a guy like Sam Hauser who has that engine, has that motor. And you can kind of see that in his gameplay, working up and having that experience is key, and being able to continue to rise at these levels is also key, and then being able to present that as well, I think, is awesome. I think Sturts could be one of those, very instrumental pieces. Obviously, Celtics do have a lot of guards already, so it's kind of tough to kind of find him in a hole immediately, but he could be one of those developmental pieces, or if the Celtics, see a bigger path for Pritchard potentially in the future, a replacement kind of piece, similar with, Baylor Scheinman or something like that, as some extra insurance.
Yeah, especially because the Celtics do like to have some length on their squad. A little fun fact that I found about him also, I think it was in the last 20 seasons, no one has played more than he has. He's played in 98.7% of every game that he's played in the combined. So this guy is a stamina demon. But he is known for, being a lot of off-ball stuff when he comes to creating his shots, which is something that the Celtics do like. So he's not more of an off the dribble shooter, but I mean, that comes with experience and playing more and learning more, but he's very patient with the ball, and I'm telling you, he's going to be a March Madness stud. I have Drake possibly going to the Sweet 16, so you're going to get a couple games out of him, but you're really going to see the type of player he is. He's going to play all games, so you're not going to miss any minutes with this guy, and you're going to learn who he is very, very quickly.
Awesome. Well, I'm hoping for Drake fans and for us Celtics fans that you want to know, keep an eye on Bennett, that they can continue to kind of make that little push so we can see him get, a game, potentially even two or three underneath his belt so we can see how much he could expand for this Celtics squad. But next, Patrick, we're going to dive into the other guy that you also brought up who, is a little bit of a bigger name, I would say, in, Johnny Broom from the Auburn Tigers, but he was the SEC Player of the Year. And this Auburn team is, a bunch of young guys that were from D2, scrappy D1s, all really put together, and they've been able to put on a show for Auburn this season, having these great stats: 18.9 points, 10.6 rebounds, an absolute beast in the paint. And he also kind of fits that quality of being, a little bit of an older player, similar to a guy like Sturtz and guys like Baylor Shireman, who they drafted last season.
Exactly. So, and also a lot with these older guys, they are having a lot more value in these past drafts, but they're going to play well in college and they're not going to be lottery picks. We just don't see that happen. So, this is why we believe that they are going to fall back, and this is exactly where they were at. So, when we're looking at the Celtics when it comes to drafting players, we're looking for some cheap contracts and some guys that are going to fill into this veteran team quick. So this is one of those picks for the Celtics. Even though he is a big man, not that type of lob threat that some of the Celtics fans are going to want, but he is a hard-nosed big and he's got some great touch and he's very smart. He knows how to move with the ball. He could stand at the top of the key and drive down to the lane and be very comfortable doing so, and he's just a great player all around. And I think that this is something that the Celtics would need, especially on the defensive end, being an all-team defensive guy as well.
100%. And you mentioned the Celtics adding these kind of veteran players, right? In our previous video, we just went over the Celtics sale, which happened today. But obviously, the Celtics are going to have these, cheaper guys and have these guys that are coming into these rookie deals being able to step in and play and make impacts right away, especially with them being a second apron team. And who knows with the future of this Celtics team with their big man group, with Al Horford getting older, Kristaps Porzingis' contract coming closer to an end, Luke Cornett entering free agency. There's a lot of question marks revolving around that front court. So the Celtics potentially addressing that issue with a guy who could, be an impact player right away, or potentially could be an impact player, in a season, similar how we've seen kind of with Baylor Shireman and his growth within the Celtics core, and Jordan Walsh within his growth with the Celtics core. I think a guy like Broom could be one of those key pieces the Celtics look to, add in the rebounding department for the Celtics team.
Yeah, I mean, this is a first team All American and looking like player of the year. It's either him or Cooper Flag. Let's see the decisions that they make, but this guy's been impressive even just last year, but this year as well, constantly getting better as a player, surrounded by good players, and he knows how to win. And that's the type of guy that the Celtics are going to want, some hard-nosed, gritty guy on both ends of the floor. He's got some great touch. Like I said, he might not be the lob threat that Celtics fans may want, but this is like an old school big, but his jump shot isn't that good yet, but that's something that comes with development, and we've seen that with so many big men in the NBA. So it's not much to worry about. But he is a stud, and I think he would fit in perfectly with the Celtics, giving them different looks in offense.
100%. And you always see with this Celtics team, that jump shot can always develop within this core. As Joe Mazzulla in this Celtics squad loves to shoot those threes, loves to get that jump shot open. So that's something I definitely would not be fearful of developing. And lastly, we're going to be diving in and talking about my guy, Nick Clifford, 6'6 small forward that is deemed as a Swiss Army knife. He's comparisons to a jumbo Brandon Podjemski slash Keldon Johnson slash Christian Braun. And we kind of debated this. He's very similar to a Christian Braun type player for this Colorado State team. And he won't be playing until tomorrow, but he's on the top 10 players to watch in the NCAA tournament, averaging 19 points, 9.7 rebounds, 4.4 assists. He is a little bit older as well, and that's why we kind of think that these players will kind of fall out. But Neek could also, have a rise within this March Madness tournament for how many eyes are keeping a good spot on him.
Yeah, I mean, another guy winning a ton of awards in his conference and doing a lot of big things for his team this year. Um, I was watching this film and I was honestly impressed. He definitely plays a lot longer than he is. It honestly feels that way. I think his wingspan's only like 6'8", and he's standing at 6'6". Brad likes those versatile guys that could guard the 1 through 5, and really, honestly, the Christian Brown comparison was awesome. I really think that they play the same way, and we saw how he fit in to that Nuggets team off rip and winning a championship. I think that's the type of guy that the Celtics are looking for. I mean, they did it with Jordan Walsh, and I think that he could be better than Jordan Walsh coming in just because of the age and having more experience. But I again, the jump shot could be a little bit iffy. But once again, like, you're getting a good player, and this is a late first round, early second round value, and you're just looking for guys to fill in just small needs and just hit on one of them.
100%. And I think with the Celtics team, they kind of have that, offensive engines kind of filtered out. You know what I mean? Obviously, Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, but the other complementary stars, they have those scorers on the bench unit. They've drafted a scorer in Baylor Sharman. I feel like for kind of this season, kind of looking into this draft, they're going to be looking for, some more help on that wing side with some defense, potentially looking for another player like Jordan Walsh. And I feel like a guy like Nick Clifford can kind of present that as a Christian Bond type player for this Celtics team, as a cutter, as an off ball defender, as a helper, as a distributor. Like you mentioned, the jump shot, maybe not perfect, but with like the Celtics team, they can always continue to get better with that jump shot. And we've seen that jump shot, excel within players through their careers with the Boston Celtics. Look at guys like even Peyton Pritchard and Sam Hauser, who are offensive gurus, get it better, but also some defensive guys and other players like that. Look at even Xavier Tillman, who, hasn't had that much of love, but recognized for that big three in the finals, and that's all because of the Boston Celtics. But like we mentioned with this team, these three guys, Nick Clifford, Johnny Broom, and Bennett Sturts, are all three great prospects to really keep an eye on. I know you mentioned Bennett and Johnny are on tonight. I believe that Nick is on tomorrow afternoon. So those are three guys to really keep an eye on for this, earlier on with this Celtics team. And like we mentioned, they may move up, they may move down, but within this ranking with the Boston Celtics. But for the Celtics at this moment, these guys kind of fitting in that tier. Patrick, we obviously know the NCAA tournament is about to be kicking off, just right around like 30 minutes or so. Are you pumped up? You
Yep.
excited to catch an eye out on these guys?
Dude, I couldn't be more excited. This is a good group of guys, and these are the guys that you're happy that are gonna fall to you. That's how I felt about Baylor Shireman. I was absolutely ecstatic. I knew where he was sitting in the draft, and the fact that he actually fell to us, and we drafted him. I'm having like that same feeling, especially with these guys, and I do want to see how Bennett starts plays because the other two are definitely bigger names in bigger conferences. But with Drake playing in the MVC and just being this random D2 guy, but who's been playing all year long really well and being an All American honorable mention. I mean, you guys are going to like him. So please keep an eye on Bennett Sturts. He's fun to watch.
100%. And I like how we have a good combination of players either. We also had a guard, we had a little bit of a big, we had a little bit of wing, kind of address all the holes for the Boston Celtics as well, for what they really truly do to look at, kind of figuring out those players and finding out guys that kind of fit that Brad Stevens mold as well. If there's anybody else that you guys think would be a good suggestion for the Celtics to target in the draft or playing in the March Madness tournament, let us know down below in the comments section so we can get a little bit more updates and can do some more deep diving and thinking, presenting on some of these players. If you liked any of the players that we presented as well, let us know down below in the comment section which one you guys would think be the best fit for this Celtics team. Patrick and I are luckily going to be able to get to watch some basketball, so we got to be signing off, but we'll be catching you guys in the next video. So hope you guys have a great rest of your day. You enjoy this March Madness, enjoy this Celtics team, and get ready for that game tomorrow. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great rest of your day, and go Boston Celtics. Peace out, everyone.